Hi guys, and welcome back to my channel, and if you're new here, hi and welcome.
Found myself smiling more. The moment you leave, I feel down again.
This is going to be my monthly wrap-up, but this is going to be like also my June wrap-up because I only read 3 books in June, so I didn't make a separate video for them then. So let's just start quickly with the June reads. I don't have any physical books with me of the June reads that I read, but I started June out with reading Last Chance Books by Kelsey Rodkey, and it's an easy like romance read, I'd say. And it's like these two people who own bookshops or like bookstores on like either side of the road, and then they kind of have to fight for the customers, and then there's this romance. And I felt like the book was easy to read and funny, but it wasn't like anything like wow. I'd give the book a 3 stars, but don't get me wrong, it wasn't a bad book, it just wasn't like anything special. And after I read The Last Chance Books, I read The Girl's IBM by Tess Sharpey, and I've talked about this book in my book tag, and it was awesome. Like the book, you don't even get, like, I was so surprised by the book. I liked it. It was different what I've read from like before, and I'd give it a 5 stars because the plot and like it, I just had to keep on reading it. That's that. I'd give it a 5 stars. Like, and then I read Every Summer After by Carly Fortune, and let me just tell you, it's one of my like 6-star reads. Literally love that. It's about Percy and Sam, and Percy has this like summer cottage at a lake town, and Sam lives in the neighbor. It's like a second chance small town romance, and I liked it, and it was kind of like childhood friends to lovers. I don't know, like it was just everything I needed at that moment. Like it was such a nice summer read, so if you're looking still for some summer reads, you should totally read that one. And it was just, oh my god, I can't even grasp the things. I loved it so much, and you should totally read it. Those were all my June reads. So now to this month. As of July, I read 6 books. I started July with reading She's Gone by David Bell, and honestly I thought this was the book that Haley was talking about, I believe. The Then She Is Gone, or Then She Was Gone, or something like this, because I couldn't remember for the life of me what the book was, and this was called She's Gone. So I read this one, and it is about this guy Hunter, and her girlfriend has just gone missing or disappeared in a car accident, and he can't remember anything, and he's like suspected for murder because they believe the girl is like dead. And I just felt like the ending was like weirdly cut off. Like I feel like you just had to finish the book really quickly and you just got up with something, and I know that's probably not the case, but it felt like that, and I was kind of disappointed with the ending. So I give the book therefore like 3 stars. It wasn't bad, but it wasn't anything like amazing, and I read it pretty quickly because I wanted to know what happens in the end, but the ending was just disappointing for me, so I don't know. It kind of feels flat for me. After that, I read Beach Read by Emily Henry, and let me tell you, I don't know what I thought about this book. First off, when I bought this a year ago, I thought it was like a romance. Then I got the impression that it's more literal fiction, but it's like a romance, but it has so much more depth in it. I love the romance between January and January and Gus, and I love the depth that this book had in it. It wasn't just like about the romance, it was about a lot more like stuff that was going on in January's life and Gus's life, and these two people are like writers, and January needs to write a book, but she can't for the life of her like write a romance book, and then she makes a bet with Gus, and you get snippets of January's like past and everything, and it's, I don't know, it had so much depth in it that I love this book so much, and I literally have to read another Emily Henry book. This is my first that I ever read, and it's the first book that I ever like annotated, and I actually have a couple of tabs in it. I don't think you can see it, but anyways, this book has my heart and soul, and literally a 6-star read for me as well. And this is like the best book I ever read, probably, and I loved it so much. But I highly suggest you to read this one. After that, I read Once Upon a Broken Heart by Stephanie Garber, and I heard such amazing things about this one, and I want to pick up The Ballad of Never After by her, because this ended on such a cliffhanger. Like literally, I was rooting for these two people to get like together or something. I don't know what I can say about this because I don't want to like, you know, spoil it for you. It's about Evangeline and Fate. There's like the Prince of Broken Hearts, or what he's called, Jax anyways, and Evangeline, and she makes a like bargain with him, and then you follow her like life, basically how it continues, and I just was rooting for them so badly. And then this book ended on a cliffhanger, and because I borrowed this from a library, I need to wait for the Ballad of Never After, and I have no idea when I'm going to get it, so I'm just hoping I'll get it soon. But I gave this a 4 stars. After that, I was thinking about a like nice romance read again, and then I remembered that I had borrowed It Only Happens in the Movies by Holly Bourne from the library, and it was kind of weird at the start, and it kind of has some heavy topics in it, so you should maybe check them up. It's nothing major, but like kind of, I don't know, it was like such an like different read for me, and I liked it, but I don't know, like I'm not sure. And the ending was awful. Like, I don't mean that she ended it in a bad way. It was just different, and I cried. And I hated that the ending was that way, but I also liked it because it was different. But let's just say it's not that happy of an ending. But yeah, I gave this also like 3 stars. And after I finished It Only Happened in the Movies, I read The Grace Year by Kim Liggett, and it was nothing what I expected it to be. It follows Tierney and these girls that are like, when they turn 16, they have to go to a place to fulfill their grace year, because they need to get rid of their magic, and it's kind of like the men of the society like are the rulers and the women are nothing, and she wants to change the things. And the romance plot in this one, I loved it. It was like the second half of the book, and then that ended in an awful way as well. But yeah, but the first half of the book was like really weird. It was like I would have been in a fever dream. I don't know why. And it was so confusing that I almost DNF'd this book, but I continued to read it and I feel like the second half was a lot better, and that's why I'm kind of conflicted on the rating, because I kind of didn't even like the first half of the book. It was so random and it honestly felt like a fever dream, but I would probably give this book also a 3 stars. I'm like conflicted because it's so weird, if I want to say. It's just so random, but I like the romance, the true love romance in this one. I don't know. I don't even know to who I would recommend this because it's more like you need to read this to like grasp it, but I don't say this is a romance book, so don't pick up this thinking it will be like romance. It's like kind of, I can't even explain. Like, look up somebody else's review of this book please, if you want to know something special, like specifics about this one, but I would give it 3 stars. I just finished my last book and it is The Boy in the Striped Pajamas by John Boyne, and it is kind of a tale about the past, about history, about Holocaust. So it is about Bruno's point of view. He's a 9-year-old boy and he lives like at Auschwitz, I believe, and he talks with this guy Shmuel who is Jewish, and they talk through the fence, like they both sit on different sides of the fences, and the end is kind of terrible, but I just didn't like get attached with these like people, and I just kind of didn't enjoy the writing. It wasn't for me. I like this story that they were doing with this book, but the writing just kind of didn't do it for me, so I didn't enjoy it as much, and therefore I would give it like 2.5 stars. And I don't mean it in a bad way, like, because it wasn't bad, but it just wasn't for me, so that's why I would give it 2.5 stars. Those are all the 6 books I read in July, and then the 3 books I read in June. And let me just tell you, I think I followed my TBR pretty well. I highly suggest you to read these books if you want to, and I hope we will see you in the next one. Bye!